The data we received this morning was definitely a bit surprising. I think it caught a lot of people off guard, myself included. And now this has definitely raised some questions and quieted down some other ones. There is presidential commentary on this, and we need to have a discussion about what that means in today's meeting, what this means heading into the fall. I do want to talk about this in totality, as well as discuss something that is continuing to track, showing we may have an exciting August ahead of us. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So the GDP report came back this morning, and this was my reaction. Right when this hit, I refreshed the page, saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, what a quarter. One of the largest quarters of growth we have seen here in the US in quite some time. And this is basically the breakdown of it. The increase in real GDP in the second quarter primarily reflected a decrease in imports, which are a subtraction of the calculation of GDP, and an increase in consumer spending. Those are the big things there. These movements were partly offset by decreases in investments and exports. But guys, 3% is a very sizable quarter, especially after we had that 0.5% decrease in Q1. And right now, the markets are actually liking this data. We've seen a little, we're not green by any means at the time of filming this video. It's about 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, but we have bounced back. We had gotten to the mid 75 cent range in terms of ADA. We're back above 76 cents. Hopefully this is something that continues as the day progresses. But what I will say is that this now likely squashes an interest rate decrease for this meeting, but calls into question what are we going to be seeing in September. And I'll get to this more in just a moment. Now, Donald Trump is actually calling for rate decreases still. He said 3%, way better than expected. Too late, must now lower the rate, no inflation, let people buy and refinance their homes. And guys, inflation is holding pretty flat, pretty steady around 2%, which is a great sign. This is the data that the Fed wants to see, and it's the data that we are seeing. But does this mean that they are going to hurry into interest rate decreases? Probably not. It's like I said about a month ago. I said this decrease for this month was going to probably be heavily dependent on this report, and it was nowhere close to a bad report by any means, right? I said we'd probably need to see a really low report or a decreasing quarter of GDP. Didn't get anywhere close to that. Now, that hasn't really changed anything in terms of the July meeting. In terms of the July meeting, we're still at about the same percentage we were yesterday, where it's very unlikely to see a rate decrease this afternoon. But where things have changed just a little bit is we have seen a shift in the likelihood of a rate decrease come September. In fact, it has actually dropped by 2.3% from yesterday. More likely now, we're still more likely to have an interest rate decrease, but it's now weighted just a little bit more towards the current side, meaning that there's just some uncertainty surrounding rate cuts coming in the September meeting. That being said, like I've talked about in my SHIB video earlier today, there's a lot of data that we have to get through until that time. So one of those reports even being tomorrow, and that's our PCE report. So definitely something to pay attention to there. Now, what I will say is that a lot of people that have been complaining and whining and just moaning understand that right now in the month of July, we have actually had a 33% increase month. All right. The fact that people are complaining is just pathetic. You need to leave your emotions on the sideline, and you need to understand that we're actually doing what we've done historically speaking. So what I'm referencing is something I actually talked about, I think about a month ago or so. And what we tend to see is July be either a pivot or a green month, basically where we're seeing some red, but it's the bottom and we start to send, and then August tends to be a very good month following that. You can track this from the BTC charts. For example, just take a look at the year following the halving. You guys can see 2021, 18% month of July, 13.8% in the month of August. 2017, 17.92%, 65% in the month of August, and 9.6% back in 2013, 30.42% in the month of August. August in the year following the halving tends to be incredibly good. Not just for BTC though, for altcoins as well. In fact, we've looked at this back then. You guys can see here, July of 2021 was a 6.7% increase month. August was 48%. Rewind further. Let's take a look back at 2017. Here's that pivot month in July of 2017, which we were down. It doesn't tell me how much we were down, but the month of August was huge, 161%. So that's why people need to just relax. This is the month where the market decides hey, are we going to see some consistency? And is the confidence real? I've seen some people say, oh, yeah, we're headed back to 50 cents or 60 cents. Maybe, right? Maybe we get more shakeouts as we get into the early part of August. But the problem is you're, again, trying to unconvict a lot of very convicted people. You know, some people have the mindset that this is what we're going to see, right? I'm on the other side. I believe that, I believe that that's what we're going to see, right? And one of us is going to be right. One of us is going to be wrong. I'm leaning this way. Okay. But the biggest thing I will say is that we still just have to be patient. We still have the meeting later today. Still going to be a lot of volatility as the day progresses. Just to take a look at it so far, haven't really seen much change in terms of volume yet. But remember, we still have a lot of that short leverage to the upside. Maybe we'll get some liquidations, but appreciate you guys as always. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.